The day my mama died, the world felt quieter than it ever had before, like someone had turned the volume down on life and forgotten how to turn it back up. I stood on the side of the dusty county road with a small backpack digging into my shoulders, my fingers numb around the strap even though the sun was high and warm. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I couldn't stay where I was. The house that used to smell like coffee and soap and my mama's cooking felt empty now, hollow in a way that scared me more than being alone out here. Cars passed by, their tires hissing against the asphalt, people inside them heading somewhere that mattered to them. I didn't matter to anyone anymore. That thought settled heavy in my chest. I had been walking for hours when I saw the ranch. A long wooden fence stretched across the land, weathered and strong, like it had seen 100 storms and decided to stand anyway. Beyond it, fields rolled out under the sky, and cattle moved slowly, calmly, as if they had all the time in the world. I don't know why I stopped there. Maybe it was the quiet. Maybe it was the way the place looked solid, like it wouldn't disappear on me the way everything else had. My legs ached, my throat burned with thirst, and my eyes stung from holding back tears I didn't want to cry in front of strangers. I sat down by the fence, hugging my knees to my chest, and that's when I saw him. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a faded plaid shirt and a hat that had clearly lived a long life. He moved with the easy confidence of someone who belonged exactly where he was. A rancher. I watched him for a moment, debating whether to say anything at all. My voice felt trapped somewhere deep inside me, tangled up with grief and fear. But when he turned and noticed me sitting there, his brow furrowed with concern, and he walked over. "You all right, kid?" he asked, his voice low and steady. I opened my mouth, and for a second, nothing came out. Then the words spilled, messy and raw, because I didn't have the strength to hold them back anymore. "My mama died today," I said. The sentence felt unreal, like I was talking about someone else's life. "Can I spend a day with you, rancher?" I don't have anywhere else to go." He didn't answer right away. He looked at me, really looked, like he was trying to read every unspoken thing written on my face. I braced myself for rejection, for the polite excuse that adults give when they don't want to get involved. But instead, he nodded once. "Yeah," he said. "You can spend the day. Come on, let's get you some water." That one small kindness cracked something open inside me. I followed him through the gate, my steps hesitant, like I was afraid the ground might vanish beneath my feet. Inside the ranch house, he handed me a glass of cold water. I drank it too fast, and he chuckled softly, not unkindly. He showed me where I could sit while he finished his chores, and I watched him move around the place with a quiet purpose that felt grounding just to witness. The day unfolded slowly, nothing dramatic or loud, and that's what made it special. He took me out to see the animals, explaining their names and habits as if it was the most natural thing in the world to include me. I learned how to feed the chickens without startling them, how to stand just right so the horse wouldn't spook, how to listen to the land instead of trying to rush it. He didn't ask a lot of questions, and I was grateful for that. I didn't have the energy to explain my whole story. It was enough that he knew the most important part. I was grieving, and I was alone. At lunch, we sat on the porch with simple food that tasted better than anything I'd had in weeks. The breeze carried the scent of grass and earth, and for the first time since my mama died, my chest loosened just a little. I found myself talking about her without meaning to. About the way she used to hum while she cooked, how she always said things would work out somehow, even when they didn't look like they would. The rancher listened without interrupting, his eyes thoughtful, his posture open. When I finished, he nodded slowly. "Sounds like she was a good woman," he said. "She was everything," I whispered. The afternoon sun stretched long shadows across the fields, and time felt different out there, less sharp around the edges. I helped where I could, clumsy but willing, and he never made me feel like a burden. When I messed up, he corrected me gently, like teaching was something he did because he wanted to, not because he had to. Every so often, I'd forget myself and almost feel normal again. Then the weight of my loss would come crashing back, and I'd have to swallow hard to keep from breaking down. Somehow, just being there made it bearable. As evening approached, a familiar panic started to creep in. The day was ending. I had asked for a day, and he had given it to me. When the sun went down, I'd have to leave. The thought of stepping back onto that empty road, of facing the night with nowhere to go, made my hands shake. I tried to hide it, but he noticed anyway. "You look like you got something on your mind." he said as we watched the sky turn orange and pink. I stared at my boots, scuffing the dirt. I know I said just a day, I murmured. And I'm grateful. I really am. I don't know where I'm supposed to go now. He was quiet for a long moment, and my heart pounded in my ears. I waited for him to tell me he couldn't help anymore, that this was as far as his kindness went. Instead, he let out a slow breath and said something that changed my life forever. You can stay forever. I looked up at him, sure I had misheard. What? You heard me, he said gently. This place could use another set of hands someday. And you could use a place to belong. Ain't saying it'll be easy. But if you want it, you got a home here. The tears I'd been holding back all day finally fell, hot and unstoppable. I didn't try to wipe them away. I didn't try to be strong. For the first time since my mama died, I didn't have to be. I nodded, unable to speak, and he stood up, giving me space but staying close enough that I knew I wasn't alone. That night, I slept in a real bed, under a roof that felt safe. I dreamed of my mama smiling, like she knew I was going to be okay. The days that followed weren't magically perfect. Grief doesn't work like that. Some mornings I woke up with a heaviness that made it hard to breathe. Some nights I cried quietly into my pillow, missing her so much it hurt. But there was always work to do, and purpose in doing it. There was always someone who noticed if I didn't show up for breakfast, someone who asked how I was doing and actually waited for the answer. The rancher became more than just the man who let me stay. He taught me how to fix fences, how to read the weather, how to be patient with myself when things went wrong. He never tried to replace my mama, and I never expected him to. But in his own steady way, he showed me what it meant to care for someone without conditions. He gave me room to grieve and space to grow. Over time, the ranch stopped feeling like a place I was staying and started feeling like home. I laughed more. I learned more. I healed, slowly, in the quiet moments between chores and sunsets. And every now and then, when the wind moved just right across the fields, I swore I could hear my mama's voice, soft and proud, telling me she knew I'd be all right. All of it started with one question asked on the worst day of my life, and one answer that changed everything. I asked for a day, and he gave me forever.